Hi there, it's Natalie Bardo, and welcome to my free Start a Blog Challenge. I'm so excited for you to get started. So this is day one. We're talking about names and niches, how you choose them, but also things like domain names and hosting, all that technical stuff. We're gonna break it down. So as you know, I love blogging. It literally changed my life. So I'm super excited for you to get started. So the first 4 days of this challenge are about setting up your brand new blog, and the last 3 days we're going to talk about strategies for traffic, email subscribers, and sales, what you need for a long-term strategy to success. So I'm not just going to get you started, I'm going to help you get to the finish line. So let's start right at the beginning. First question, what is a blog anyways? So a blog is just a website that's regularly updated. What makes it a blog is you writing blog posts. So sounds simple, right? When you go to a blog, you've definitely seen it. You always see most recent content at the top. So that's what a blog is. I'll be showing you how to create that blog using WordPress.org, which is basically a self-hosted site. So let's, at the very beginning, talk about the cost of starting a blog, because you might be saying, hey, Natalie, why aren't we just using one of those free platforms like Wix or, WordPress.com? And that's a great question. There are a few reasons for that. One is there's a lot of hidden costs when it comes to free websites. And we're going to take a look at that. So don't worry, I'm going to break it down for you. You'll get access to all that tech training. So if you're watching this and you're like, oh gosh, I've never signed up, click the link, sign up, get your workbook, and get access to all those tech trainings where I'm showing you everything click by click. So let's talk about the true cost of starting a blog. Alrighty, so if you signed up, you will receive this lovely workbook, and in it, I've broken down everything. So I've written a nice little introduction for you, but let's take a look over here at the cost of starting a blog. So like I said, I've broken it down into musts and shoulds. So speaking of musts, okay, you might have heard of some of these free blogging sites out there like Wix, like WordPress.com, and you might be saying, okay, Natalie, why can't I just use that? And the main reason is that a lot of these free sites, although they appear to be free in the beginning, there are costs that will surprise you. So just to be able to add something like a plugin, which increases your functionality, or to be able to add a premium theme, you can't do these things without paying more money. And it's frustrating. So I know quite a few people actually who started their blogs on Wix and have wanted to switch to WordPress, but it's so complicated and they wish they had just started with WordPress in the beginning. I also know, I had a blogger friend of mine hire me to move her site to a self-hosted WordPress site, which is what this challenge is all about. You're building a site with WordPress and SiteGround. And, her reason was she had to pay for this business plan, which is $30 a month, which is way more than if she had just started a blog. So that's $360 a year. So if she had just started a self-hosted site, it would have been way less, but she needed to pay $30 a month just so she could use Google Analytics, which is something that's free. That's the ridiculousness of some of these so-called free platforms. They really get you when it comes to wanting to get serious about blogging and do all the things that you need to do, like add plugins, like add social sharing, to be able to use Google Analytics. You're ending up paying $360 for your first year, when if we look at our cost breakdown here, getting started, all you need is your domain name and your hosting plan. So let's talk about what this is. And for your very first year, if you only sign up for a year, it's about $56.28 US. So let's look at that in comparison. So even if we had gotten a premium theme, it's still less than the $360 of this so-called free WordPress.com site. So you need two things to build your website. You need a domain name and a hosting plan. So let's talk about what they are. So if we're building a house, I love this analogy. The domain name is the street address. It's basically your domain. So my blog name is itsallyaboo.com. You put it in the search bar and access it. When we're talking about hosting plan, it's the virtual land we're going to build your website on. It's where all the images, the text, the HTML, the JavaScript that make up your website live on the internet. It's hosted so that it can be accessible at your web address. So my top picks for domain name and hosting plan, and trust me, I've tried a bunch, and these are the best. So for your name, I'm recommending Namecheap.com. It's about $10 a year. You get a bit of a discount the first time. The renewal price is pretty comparable. Also, it has something called Privacy Shield, and it's free. So this privacy protection means that your personal information isn't going to be displayed on the internet. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate that they don't charge me more for this. So when we're talking about hosting, I am a fan of SiteGround. I love their 24/7 support, which is going to be super important for you because you're a brand new blogger and you're new to the online world and you're going to have a lot of questions and you need that support. I could not tell you over the last almost 3 years I've been with them how much they have taught me. So I have tech tutorials on choosing the best plan, on purchasing your domain with Namecheap, on connecting them. So don't worry if any of this confuses you, but you're going to want to get this startup plan. It's probably the best deal. The thing about hosting I love is that you usually, just like with your cell phone provider or cable, you're going to get the best deal the first time you sign up. So if you can swing it, sign up for 3 years so you can secure that $3.95 a month for the first 3 years. And you'll notice that the renewal rate goes up, but it's still way less than the free WordPress.com website, okay? So that's what we're talking about, your domain name and your hosting. You're going to need both. Don't worry if any of that confuses you. I have got tech training that shows you exactly what you need to do. All right, so that's it for must purchases. We're going to get to the shoulds and the optionals in the next video, which is in day 2. All right there, boss blogger in training. Let's get to the core lesson for day 1. We're talking about choosing your name and your niche. Right? Big decisions. Hey, don't worry about it. Honestly, when it comes to a name, as long as it's easy to remember and you can type it into a browser and not get confused, then you're winning. Don't overthink it. A lot of people do. They spend days and weeks, obsessing over this. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter as much as you think it would. But here are a few tips. When it comes to choosing a domain name, especially, if you're not so sure about your niche, maybe you'll change your mind, that happens all the time, you're going to want to make sure that it doesn't really mean anything. And by that I mean, what does It's All You Boo mean? It means nothing, although it also means everything. So I can, with my blog, I can change directions and not have to start over. You would not believe the amount of times I've seen people have to rebrand, delete, and start over because they picked a super specific name and then all of a sudden it doesn't make sense. So say for example, it's Mom Who Loves, water life and turtles, but then all of a sudden you now live in a city and you can't really blog about that anymore, so it doesn't make sense. So you just want to keep the name transferable so you can write about anything you want. Another option for you is to just use your real human name. So that's an option. The only thing about choosing that is, bloggers end up selling their blogs down the line. You don't really want to sell your blog that has your name. It's like a Kate Spade situation. And it's kind of strange, right? So I would recommend you just find a phrase or a name that doesn't really mean much. And don't worry, I've got training that breaks down the different types of names. I've got examples to help you make a decision. So when we're talking about niche, I know the number one question is, okay, how do I find a profitable blogging niche, right? We're all asking it, but hey, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're in this to make money quick, blogging is definitely not the road to that. There are way easier ways to make money. But blogging is about passion. It's about something that you're interested and committed to, and blogging takes commitment. I love what I'm doing right now. I probably love it even more than when I started 3 years ago. And I want that for you as well. So maybe you're saying, oh gosh, I'm into all these things. I love DIYing, I'm into finance, I'm into beauty, I could blog about parenting. So how do you decide? So my honest recommendation is to see what's easiest to write about, because at the core of it, when we take away the tech, the WordPress, the domains and all the creative images and all that stuff, blogging is about writing. So what can you actually write about? And I would just suggest you open a Google Doc or a Word doc or an empty, note message to yourself on your phone and pick the 2 categories you're most interested in and try to write a blog post about each of them. See what comes naturally to you. Think of it as a 101. So if you are explaining, what your DIYing is about or a certain aspect of it, or maybe mom life, what comes the easiest and most natural to you? That is where you get started, okay? So that's my advice on choosing a name and a niche. You want to pick what you're most passionate about and what comes most naturally to you. Another thing you can think about creating is a tagline. So your tagline is going to connect your name to your niche, especially if your name has no meaning or it's your own name. So mine is It's All You Boo, and my tagline is helping you slay your goals in life and business. That gives you a better idea what my site is about. So you're going to want to craft this short little statement. My last tip for you is make sure your blog name is less than 15 characters. You don't want to get too crazy, and you also want to go ahead and try and secure your social media handles, so at your blog name or at your name, depending which direction you take it. So you're going to go to Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, and whatever else is popular at this time. You're going to secure those handles. Even if you're not using it just yet, don't worry. You're just securing it and saving to make sure nobody else takes it from you. Alrighty, so that's your intro to names and niches. Like I said, I've got extra training. So if you signed up for this challenge, you will get links to those videos. If you haven't as yet, sign up below, join the challenge, get the workbook. You're going to want to, follow along with us and get those bonus tech trainings. Okay. If you got any questions, you can reply to any of my emails. You can post comments below. I am here to help you. So be sure to get started. What's your blog name? What's your niche? Figure it out. Purchase your domain from Namecheap. Click my links below. You're going to set up hosting with SiteGround. I also have a link for you. Craft that tagline. Secure your social media handles, and then you're going to connect your domain to your hosting so that, when someone clicks on that web address or types it in, it actually goes to your WordPress site. All right, this is day 1. And if you have, gotten through all of this super quick, you've got energy left and you want to get a head start, at this point, I really do recommend you start thinking about your about page. So when choosing your niche, it's usually a personal choice. So write that story down. Tell us, why are you starting this blog? Who do you want to help? What is it going to be about? And you're going to use that when we get to setting up your about page. But it doesn't hurt to get a head start. So there you have it. This is day 1. Woo! You're on your way to starting your blog. Tomorrow is when we get into things like themes, and it's going to be fun. You'll be able to decide what your site's going to look like. And if you set up a self-hosted WordPress site, we're going to go theme shopping and also take a look at some of the free themes that are available to you and talk about, some other things as well. So I will be seeing you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Once again, sign up for this challenge. The link is below. Get your workbook. I will be updating it with everything you need to do to start your blog. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.